All right, welcome today to the Relentless podcast. I have a very special guest and friend. His name is Gary Becker. Gary owned the Today Shopper, and we want to get into talking about his business, his life, and everything he's done to this point, and then kind of passing the baton on to myself. So, Gary, you've been in business for over 30 years. What initially inspired you to start Today Shopper?
Well, I was working for a food company, and it's a long story. I had been a subcontractor with my father-in-law. They hired me directly, and a couple of years later, they got bought out by a bigger food company. I was running a certain division, and they cut my pay, $20,000, took my car allowance away. So after that, I just said, I got to do something for myself. I stayed there like a year, and I'm looking at infomercials and magazines, and I saw an ad it was a Penny Saver franchise. So I bought the franchise, and it was about $40,000 back then, which was a lot 30 years ago. And I started, and I had to go to training in New York, and that's what made me do it. And I always wanted to get into marketing and help people, and I was interested in advertising. So that's basically how I started.
That's great. I didn't know that. So $40,000 back then is probably equivalent to maybe $150,000 today. So yeah, that's awesome to know. I didn't know.
I cashed in my IRA.
Put it all in. And so I'm all into this thing, and you're going to make it. Because, sometimes when you have something like a setback or money taken away from you, in a job working for somebody else, it's time to take that jump and be able to do it yourself.
Yeah, and I had just bought my house that I live in now, like a month before.
Before you got that decrease in pay?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's
my
your
wife
drive.
almost crying.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's your why. So the wife's your why, and you kind of build it up there. So what were some of the key milestones or challenges that shaped the magazine's journey over the years? Because obviously if it was Penny Saver at first, you turned it into Today Shopper. What did that transition look like, or what were some of the milestones?
Well, when I first started, I set a record for the most sales of the first issue of any franchise. And as time went on, the franchisee, the guy got addicted to the internet, and he wasn't doing what he was doing when AOL first came out. And so after a few years, I decided I got to leave the franchise. They weren't doing the ads enough and all that. They weren't getting them back fast enough. So I ran into this guy who was going to buy my paper. It didn't work out. And so I went out on my own. I got a lawyer. I left the franchise. I called it a Savvy Shopper. So I started on my own, but I had to find a graphic designer. And that graphic designer is Diane, still with us today and still working for you.
That's great.
So
that's awesome.
She was great. And at the time, believe it or not, the franchise had all the ads made. And in order to get the job with me, Diane recreated every ad that was in the paper on her own, no charge, for free.
That's great.
That really helped me out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's been the most rewarding part of running Today Shopper for you? Because you've done it for a long time.
What was what?
The most rewarding part of running Today Shopper.
The most rewarding part is getting to know all the customers over the years that were very loyal, made friends, had good friends, had a lot of fun, doing pretty well, even though you have your ups and downs, and collecting money is always a problem.
Yeah.
But over the years, it was very rewarding, and I'm still friendly with a lot of the customers that I have.
So one thing I've seen you do, and you did it with me even 15, 18 years ago when I first met you, is you were very personable, and you came by. Now I feel a lot of people have lost that connection of coming by, and I feel like that was one of the reasons, even when you called me and came back in, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go with Gary. So talk about that. I think that's pretty awesome that you did that and still do that.
I think today that's still what you have to do. I know a lot of people don't do it, but that was how I worked. That's how I worked in other sales. Our paper went out every 2 weeks. I visited every customer every 2 weeks. I got their ads. I talked to them. I got to know them. You develop an amazing rapport. Imagine 30 years seeing someone every 2 weeks for almost once a week. instead of calling them on the phone.
Absolutely.
You would call them on the phone in an emergency.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Getting to know everybody like that, it's invaluable. You develop friendships. They give you other people. Did you ever call my friend? There's a business opening over there. You get leads. It's just amazing by being personable.
Yeah, I think you can build a lot of relationships, a lot of referral business.
Having integrity and being honest and doing everything right for the customer and giving them great service, that's what's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think we're going to get you back driving around these customers every 2 weeks. What do you think about that? I'm just kidding.
Actually, I'm itching to go visit some of them.
You probably have. I mean, been doing it for so long and then not doing it. It's got to be like, what am I doing with myself?
I was telling my wife, I'm getting up now, like, I feel like I'm supposed to do something today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. So as far as your original vision of Today's Shopper and how it evolved over time, where do you see it then? Where do you see it as it started to evolve, and where do you see it going?
Well, originally when I started, one of the main competitors was newspapers, regular newspapers. Back then.
What's that? What's a newspaper?
And the big thing with Today's Shopper was that it was mailed directly, where newspapers aren't. They're bought by people.
Sure.
And so that was a big thing, that you could tell somebody, we're going to mail this to every home. If you're putting your ad in the newspaper, you're going to get much better results, much better coverage. Everyone in the town's going to get it. And that was a really big thing, and it worked really well. And it still does today. But over the years, as newspapers started declining and then social media started, Facebook was the biggest one first. I didn't do much with social media, and that was starting to etch into some of my sales. So then now it started to die out a little. People are getting into print more, but print is still, in my opinion, the main thing people should advertise in, because people see it for real, especially if they get a paper in the mail. But with social media is a really good thing that you're going to do now, and to develop it with Today's Shopper will really go far with that.
Oh, yeah, I believe in that too. So in August, I went to Tony Robbins. You ever hear of Tony Robbins?
Yes, I know.
And we went over it's called Business Mastery. They went over all different marketing channels, and there was like 30 of them. And only one did he stop and actually emphasize the importance of it, and it was the print ad marketing. And it said how important it is to get that out there, because a lot of people are focusing only on social media or only on their SEO for their website or only on so many other things, and they miss out on that print ad. And what ends up happening is the people that are doing it, those are the guys getting the business. So I feel like that's super important to do. And on top of that, as far as when you do those ads, that paper, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, I went out to one of the jobs. It was a bathroom, and I looked at the book. The book was from January. So these people actually keep the books, which I thought they just toss them, but they keep them for the coupons. And I said, how do you have this book? She goes, I keep them all. Keep them all until I use all the coupons. I just use the next one. I use the next one. But I had this one from January. I just hadn't seen it. And I went through. I saw your bathroom post, and I gave you a call. So I think they're great.
Yeah, people used to tell me the same thing, that they would save them and hold on to them. Or they'd see an ad for somebody from a year ago, but they didn't need their service yet, and they would hold on to it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I know that now. I had no idea before, so I think it's a great thing. And then the other thing is the magazine goes out twice a month. What is the impact of the frequency of that? And then how does that maximize the business reach?
Well, when I very first started, I had to decide how often the paper would come out. So before I started, I went around to all the advertisers, and I asked them what they thought.
Yep.
And I thought they thought weekly was a little too much, because they have to spend for an ad every week.
Sure.
And they thought monthly wasn't enough. And I thought weekly would be kind of hard to do.
Sure. With getting all the deadlines done.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I came out with every 2 weeks, and that seemed to be just perfect.
Yep. So I don't see any other company out there that's doing the 2 times a month, which is pretty cool too.
A lot of them today are monthly.
Monthly.
Yeah. Some things used to be weekly.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't seen much of anything other than yours. And then what are some of the most memorable success stories that you've seen out there as far as like customers or even like success stories with them, doing the multiple ads or even doing it maybe over 10 years?
Well, when I started 30 years ago, I had a group of initial customers. And to this day, some of the customers that are still in business, because in 30 years, a lot of people have gone out of business.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
But some of those people still advertise today, and some have never skipped an issue in 30 years.
That's amazing.
So
that kind of
I was always very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're still advertising even now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you brought a great customer base to us to build up on. So why do you think more businesses should consider using Today's Shopper for their print marketing?
Well, one of the things that I always felt was that all the ads in Today's Shopper are local. They're all local businesses. It's all things, whether it's a local pizza shop, car repair, home improvement. It's all local businesses from this area that want to advertise. There's not ads from people in other states. Occasionally, yes, but people want to do business with local people.
Yep.
And, all their favorite pizza shops are in there and this and that makes them read the paper.
I like it. Yeah. So I guess when you go out to these well, now we have another salesperson, but when you went out there, as far as creating like effective ads for the people, they really don't know. Because again, if it's a pizza place, they're making pizza. They don't know how to create marketing, right? Maybe they never had any business experience other than, hey, maybe their father did it, now they do it. So you go there and you try and sell them an ad. What advice would you give to any business as far as creating something effective that when the people look in the magazine, they could say, oh, this looks great, or hey, I want to go to this place of business. What can you recommend for something like that?
Well, a lot of times people think the most important thing is to have their name at the top of the ad, but the most important thing is to have a headline, like you might have in your business, one-day baths.
Right.
Right. It doesn't say showcase remodels.
No.
It says one-day baths.
Yep.
There was a guy from a fitness place that always had these crazy headlines, like, this is not a meat market or a steroid house.
Yeah. Yep. Something to hook them in.
Something, right.
Okay.
So, it's a headline, an offer, a promise, a phone number, and a reason for them to call.
Yep.
So
something like that. What about coupons? Do you think coupons are effective or not so much?
Coupons are an offer. Definitely.
Okay.
You have to have a coupon.
Yep.
You have to give people a reason to call.
Yep. Absolutely. And then when you went out to these different businesses, did you give them advice on it, or did you give them like a template, or did you say, hey, just come up with something? How did you kind of do that?
I would talk individually to each customer, and then I would say, do you have an idea of what you want to do with the ad? And I can help you with it. And I said, if you don't have a lot, just tell me a few things, offer suggestions. We'll make up the ad, and we'll show it to you. We'll change it. So
that's great. Yep.
And the more you're in this business, the longer you're in it, you get very good at creating good ads.
Yeah, I feel like anything you do a lot, like if you're doing marketing a lot, right. You walk into a business and you could say, you know what, if this is what they do, this is what you want to highlight, this is what you should do in your ad. And I feel like that would be something that someone in sales would have to be able to do effectively. Because again, they're coming to you as a professional, right? Saying, hey, I need help with my ads. That's why I'm coming to you. That's why I want to pay you that money.
Sometimes actually, if you want to try to get someone's business in advertising, you could actually make up an ad for them and then go in and say, hey, what do you think about this? I know your business. I made up something for you.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. This way you're going here and going, hey, what do you think of this ad? Right. Why don't we give it a shot for 3 months?
Right.
And let's gauge on how you do. And I love that idea. That's great. That's actually great. And then I think on top of that, maybe do some kind of template for each type of business. And then this way you can show them, hey, examples. Oh, I like that, or I don't like this. And then you get a real good idea on how to finish up that ad.
Yeah,
I think that'd be great. Yep. But then what industries or types of businesses have you seen benefit the most from a platform of the print ad?
I would say definitely each business is different, like food, car repair, home improvement.
Yep.
you know, I guess those are the three main categories. I might be forgetting something.
Sure.
Car wash.
Car washes.
Car wash.
Oh, yeah.
Car detailing, you know, things like that.
Definitely.
But there's so many food places. That's the number one. And in this area, it's pizza places for sure.
Definitely. So, you work your whole life, with regular work for other people, and then now for yourself, and then selling the business off. What was that whole experience like? Like literally going, hey, this is my baby. I built this whole thing, and now I'm selling it. I'm done. How did that go?
Well, first I sold it to the best guy.
I
got the best salesperson. She's over there.
Yep, she's great.
Of course,
she's unbelievable.
And it was hard, still to this day, but I'm very glad I did, and I'm glad I retired.
Yeah,
I do miss it a little. But getting lazy.
Oh yeah, I feel like when you first sold it, you were like, whatever, yeah, cool. And then when I started talking to Diane, you're like, oh wow, I realized I'm not there anymore. And you've been with Diane and she's been with you for quite a long time.
She's great, but and I wanted to tell you everything to do the same way I did it, but that's not how things work in life.
Yeah. No, I definitely look to you as far as like a guide and a path, and I definitely appreciate everything you're doing.
No, you have really good ideas for the social media and everything.
Yeah,
and it's really going to grow the paper.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all learning curve. Like learning the paper and learning what works and what doesn't work. You find that little sweet spot, and then you run with it. Again, like even putting the paperwork together, as far as like the 3-part carbon copy. I don't know all this stuff. I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. I know what I want in my head, but sometimes putting on paper is different. But yeah, your guidance has definitely helped me.
Sometimes there's terminology with something. I have a funny story, like there's something called ROP. And when I started in the business, I kept hearing it over and over. And it's a simple thing, and I never knew what it meant. And it means run of paper, like an ad anywhere in the paper, not the front or back of it or anything. It took me years to figure out what that meant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a million acronyms that I know. But, there's so many different ones out there. Even my new assistant, when I'm telling him the terms, I speak so fast, sometimes he can't pick it up. And I'm like, just slow me down. If there's something that you don't know, just tell me and then write it down. You'll know it eventually. But, yeah, definitely getting to know the words and, the different things that work and don't work is a part of the whole journey. And then after such a long career, what motivates you now? Like, is there anything that you're looking to do when you retire? You have like a bucket list of things you want to travel to?
My grandkids and one daughter are in Canada, so I'll be going there a lot.
That's right.
I'm here. I didn't have a chance to go there that often. And that's pretty much it. Take some vacations.
Did the kids get to come down here at all, or did you go?
They're coming for Thanksgiving, and they were here on the 4th of July.
Now their Thanksgiving is now, isn't it?
They just had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday.
Yep. Yeah, I only know that because one of the marketing girls I'm friends with in Canada.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
It's different.
Uh-huh. I didn't know either. That's great. And then what's the best piece of advice you've ever received in business, and how has it shaped your career?
The best piece of advice would be to be honest, have integrity. Customer is always right to a point. And work as hard as you can.
Oh, yeah.
And smart.
Absolutely. And then is there anything else that maybe we haven't covered that you would like to say to even like, Diane? Because I know she'll definitely be watching as far as, having good people around you and that's what kind of keeps your drive going and, knowing
I was very lucky to find Diane, and I wouldn't have been successful without her.
That's great. That's great. Well, Gary, thank you.
You can tell in my voice I have a soft spot for her.
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do. She's great. She's a really, really nice person. So I'm really happy.
She works hard and gets the work done on time.
Definitely.
So.
Awesome. Well, Gary, thank you for coming out today.
Well, thank you.
I do appreciate it. And
thanks for buying the paper.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you so much. All right. I appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.